Coming up next, the escalating war in the Middle East after a surprise attack on Israel. And the far-reaching effects even up here in Pennsylvania. We talk with a Penn State student who grew up in Gaza and has family there.
You can smell death everywhere.
Plus, local neighborhoods targeted with anti-Jewish hate messages.
I'm not intimidated, I'm disgusted.
And a deadly shooting spree in central Pennsylvania, close to a university. The Center County Report starts now.
Good afternoon, I'm Alyssa Wagner.
And I'm Matt Cabram. Thanks for joining us for the Center County Report. Our top story, just days after a surprise attack on Israel and a declaration of war, the effects are being felt around the world, including here in Pennsylvania. Here is the latest. Israel has increased airstrikes on the Gaza Strip and sealed it off from food, fuel, and supplies. That's in retaliation for the weekend attack by the Hamas militants. Israel's prime minister says the offensive against Hamas has only started. At least 1,600 people are dead. And Hamas is also promising to kill captured Israelis if attacks targets civilians without warning. Leaders around the world are condemning the violence. Protests are happening across the U.S., and major U.S. airlines have suspended flights to Israel. Reporter Olivia Jean is live in our studio with local reaction. Olivia?
Matt, this all began over the weekend as the militant group Hamas launched a massive attack that caught Israel off guard. The next day, Israel declared war, and it began its counterattack in the latest escalation between these bitter enemies. I had the chance to talk with a terrorism expert, a history professor, and a Penn State student who grew up in Gaza about all the violence.
You can smell death everywhere.
Thousands of dead bodies, thousands of scared families. Israel and Hamas are now in a full-fledged war. Penn State grad student Haneen Shath grew up in Gaza and still has family there. She claims the attack on Israel was self-defense after years of suffering.
As a Palestinian of Gaza, I can tell you that growing up in Gaza means that you are growing up in a prison that you cannot escape at all.
Shath is having trouble talking with her siblings because communications are down, but she says they are alive.
I myself is still struggling with the trauma of losing one of my brothers in 2018, who was killed by the Israeli occupation. My brother was a civilian. He did nothing to Israel. His only crime was that he's a Palestinian.
The Hamas attack came as a shock to many, including those who have studied this conflict for years.
It was pretty surprising for people who study terrorism and watch terrorism. The attack was pretty massive. It was a complex, coordinated attack, which is pretty atypical for terrorist attacks.
Others aren't surprised at all.
I was not surprised that the Palestinian has the motivation to take such a revengeful action. I know how people suffer there and how they feel helpless.
It's a bitter dispute dating back to Israel's 1948 formation.
What we see here is the explosion of that.
It was clearly the product of a long, planned assault that involved enormous numbers of teams of militants.
And it's likely to be a long fight.
I'm not optimistic for the future because I do not see that the Israeli government is reacting in a way that will change the path.
In order for there to be peace, there has to be a partner for peace. You have to have an opponent that is interested in wanting to have peace with you. And that's sort of difficult with Hamas. I mean, Hamas is an armed political movement.
In the U.S., protests are popping up across the country supporting both sides. But emotions are running high and the roots of the conflict are deep.
Unfortunately, in order to understand what's going on, it is not enough to just follow the news. You have to learn history.
The U.S. State Department says at least 11 Americans are among those dead from the attacks. Meantime, key Pennsylvania lawmakers are reacting to the attacks on their social media. Governor Josh Shapiro posted, quote, "Our family has spared many special moments in Israel and our hearts break for those living in this war now." Senator Bob Casey said, quote, "The United States must stand with Israel and its right to self-defense." And Senator John Fetterman said, quote, "I forcefully condemn these cowardly, horrifying, unprovoked attacks on Israel by Hamas."
Thanks, Olivia. Penn State's president also sent a letter to the university today. Part of it reads, "We grieve with you over the unspeakable tragedy and offer our support to those within the Penn State community who are being impacted by these events." Neely Bendapudi also asked for comfort and support for classmates and colleagues. Even before the weekend attacks in Israel, other hateful messages showed up in State College, including near a Jewish Borough Council member's home. Police say it wasn't the only incident in Pennsylvania. Reporter Jesse Wynn has the story, but first, warning some of these images are disturbing.
I'm not intimidated. I'm disgusted.
Police are investigating anti-Semitic messages distributed to several State College neighborhoods in the past week. One of them was in front of the home of former Borough Council President Evan Myers.
They were flyers with vile, disgusting messages on them. I don't want to repeat what was on them. That would give life and exposure to the hateful people that put them out there.
Myers wasn't the only one on the receiving end of the disturbing flyers. Police say similar posters were spotted a couple of weeks ago in downtown State College. Penn State Hillel, an organization that aims to serve about 5,000 Jewish students at Penn State, says it's doing everything to fight back.
I think that what's most important is that our community, and I don't just mean the Jewish community, I mean the Penn State community, the larger State College community, come together to support anyone who is targeted by hate.
With anti-Semitic violence on the rise across the country over the past few years, this is not just a State College problem. The Democratic Jewish Outreach of Pennsylvania says it received reports of anti-Semitic and white supremacist literature in at least 3 other Pennsylvania towns and in New Jersey.
According to a report by the Anti-Defamation League, anti-Semitic incidents rose 36% from 2021 to 2022, while bomb threats toward Jewish schools and synagogues spiked from 8 to 91. The DJOP is calling on politicians to help stop the hate.
Our elected leaders have an obligation to speak out against this and let their voters know that this is inappropriate behavior.
In State College, I'm Jessie Nguyen for the Center County Report.
State College police say if you have any information that can help with this case, call them or submit a tip on their website.
Police are still hunting for suspects in a shooting that left 1 dead and 8 injured over the weekend in Indiana County, just 2 miles from the IUP campus. Police believe more than one shooter opened fire at a private party at a community center, and they say there may have been a gun battle inside the building. Crime Stoppers is offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to arrests, and police are looking for surveillance video including doorbell cameras to piece together what happened.
Pennsylvania is looking to crack down on drivers who don't pay turnpike tolls. The state Senate has passed a bill to go after lottery winnings and income tax returns of toll scofflaws. More than $155 million in tolls went uncollected over the past year. The bill now goes to the House.
Pennsylvania has one of the higher cancer rates in the nation, according to the CDC. A popular event at Penn State over the weekend brought people together to raise awareness.
The Greens. The Swings. Even running in the rain. All for a great cause. The American Cancer Society's annual Coaches vs. Cancer 5K happened on Saturday.
We've done it for years and just keep on doing it year after year after year and working with the basketball team, working with their staff, and working with the golf course here.
The event spreads cancer awareness and helps those fighting the disease. Organizers have worked with the Penn State basketball team for years.
This has been around for over 20 years. This race and Coaches vs. Cancer itself has been around for 26 years. So very impactful to our community here, and I love being a part of State College and fighting cancer.
New head coach Mike Rhodes says he's happy to be involved.
As I always tell our guys, it's got to be bigger than basketball. Basketball brings us all together, but we got to use basketball as a vehicle to do greater things.
The annual Coaches vs. Cancer 5K walk/run is not only an event that could bring the family together to enjoy a nice run here on the weekends, but it also incorporates the life-saving mission of the American Cancer Society. If you look behind me here, runners will pass this clock at the table, and they are greeted by head coach of the men's basketball team in Mike Rhodes, and they are greeted for a water bottle for their efforts. More than 55 runners took part in this year's event, as they hope it continues for many more years to come. Coaches vs. Cancer has events throughout the year nationwide.
Still to come on the Center County Report, we're enjoying some great fall weather this week, but big changes are coming for the weekend. We'll check the 7-day forecast.
Plus, looking ahead to Saturday's Penn State homecoming football game. Also coming up, hundreds came together in State College to walk for a good cause. That story comes after the break.
The holidays are almost here, and State College will again give the gift of free parking. It will begin before Thanksgiving from November 20th through December 17th. Parking garages will have grace periods for free parking up to 2 hours. Courtesy cards will be issued to forgive up to 3-meter violations at street meters and municipal lots. Then from December 18th till January 2nd, garage, meter, and lot parking will all be free.
October is Down Syndrome Awareness Month here in Center County, and hundreds turned out to mark the occasion with a popular annual event called the Buddy Walk. Reporter John Colavita has more.
Hundreds turned out for the Buddy Walk at Mount Nittany Middle School, an event to raise money for the Center Region Down Syndrome Society. John Moses Bronson says having a stepson with Down syndrome has taught him patience and given him new perspectives on life.
Oftentimes we see patience as a burden or as a hurdle, and now I see patience as a gift that we give to other people.
He's on the Society's board and says the money raised helps provide kids with resources as they grow up.
We want them to have happy childhood, sure, that's really important, but we also want them to have the power to grow into really amazing adults.
Last year's Buddy Walk brought in more than $22,000 in donations. This year's event featured a walk around the school and even a few superheroes. Walkers got medals after the event.
The Buddy Walk is the Center Region Down Syndrome Society's biggest event of the year. And if you're wondering if it was a success, all the smiles I've seen today tell me yes.
The Society's mission is to help people with Down syndrome and their families with tools, resources, and support to achieve personal success. In State College, I'm John Calavita for the Center County Report.
The Center Region's Down Syndrome Society's next event is a holiday party on December 9th.
Taking a look above Penn State campus, taking a look above Beaver Stadium this afternoon. We have some clouds around with some blue sky. The sun is peeking out a little bit. Now, don't worry about these clouds because we're not looking at really any chance of precipitation today. But these clouds are going to be sticking around. 55 degrees right now with mostly cloudy conditions, winds out from the west at 14 miles an hour. Taking a look at our temperatures here in the state of Pennsylvania, we're looking at temperatures generally in the 50s with slightly warmer temperatures to our south and east. Places like Philadelphia and Harrisburg are pushing 60 today. Philadelphia is already at 61 degrees. But in general, most of the state is going to just be staying in the 50s today. It's going to be a very fall-like day, and temperatures are actually slightly below average for this time of year for today. But let's take a look at this radar. You can see we have some clouds around, some showers to our north. We did have some showers move through southeastern Pennsylvania earlier today. But overall, for the next 48 hours, we're not really looking at any precipitation here in State College. Now, that is going to change later in the week. Now, let's take a look at our futurecast. Going into this evening, those clouds are going to stick around, but we're not looking at the chance of rain here in State College. Going into tomorrow is going to be a nice day. It's going to clear up with skies mostly clear across most of the Commonwealth, honestly, except for the exception of maybe northern portions of the state. Now, as we go into Thursday, we're going to see these clouds begin to move in, and we may have a chance of a shower going into Thursday. Now, it's unlikely for Thursday, but that chance is still there, and those clouds are going to move in, part of a larger system that's going to be coming towards us during the weekend. As you can see, to our west, we have a system of rain. As you can see, Friday, it starts to move into the area just a little bit, and then going into Saturday, that's when that wall of rain is going to impact us here in Pennsylvania and here in State College. Saturday is the homecoming game here in State College, so if you're going to the game, you're definitely going to want to bring an umbrella or a poncho because widespread rain showers are likely for Saturday. Now, as we go into Sunday, those rain showers are going to linger around a little bit, so there'll still be clouds and rain around for Sunday, but not as much as Saturday. And as we go into Sunday and into Monday, the beginning of next week, we're going to see those rain showers linger around as well. But for today here in State College, we're in the 50s. 58 degrees is the expected high with sun and clouds. As we go into tonight, we'll drop down to the 40s with partly cloudy conditions. And then as we go into tomorrow, we are going to see temperatures bump up to the 60s, just a little bit warmer than today and a little bit clearer with sunny conditions. And taking a look at our 7-day forecast, we're going to be seeing temperatures in the high 50s today. But as we go into the weekend, we have to watch for that chance of rain, especially on Saturday, with temperatures in the 50s for Saturday. Going to be feeling very fall-like and very wet for the homecoming game.
Thanks, Jeremy. I'll be sure to pack my rain gear for the football game this weekend. And now to Gianna Kataya with sports.
Coming up, Penn State football is back in action this week. We get a mid-season report card on the team. Also ahead, the Nittany Lions women's soccer team took on Ohio State, trying to stay unbeaten. We check out the highlights next. I'm Gianna Kataya with sports. It's homecoming week at Penn State, and the Nittany Lions return to Beaver Stadium Saturday after their bye week. I talked with 2 football beat reporters to get their insight on the first half of the season. Penn State entered the 2023 campaign with heightened expectations, following a 11-2 record in a Rose Bowl victory in 2022. Through the Nittany Lions' first 5 games, they are 5-0 with a new look in their offense compared to previous years. Daily Collegiate football reporter Sam Wilson thinks first-year starting quarterback Drew Aller has been key in the team's early season success.
To have a first-year starting quarterback that hasn't thrown a pick yet and an offense that's only turned it over one time is super impressive.
However, it's been the Nittany Lions defense that has led the way in the first half. They have allowed less than 10 points per game while racking up 37 tackles for loss and 20 sacks. Penn State's pass rushing trio of Chop Robinson, Adiza Isaac, and Abdul Carter look to continue their dominance in the second half of the year.
Penn State has done what it needs to so far, and there's a lot of really good things that you like to see, and there's definitely a lot of things that you still want to see.
The Nittany Lions set their sight to the second half of the season this Saturday in Beaver Stadium, when they take on UMass in the annual homecoming game. Penn State kicks off against UMass on Saturday at 3:30. You can listen to the game live on Penn State Com Radio with our broadcasting team at Beaver Stadium. To high school football, undefeated Bald Eagle played host to 5-1 Clearfield over the weekend. After the whistle, reporter Carlos Garcia takes a look at the offensive battle.
It was a cool and dry Friday night in Bald Eagle, until it wasn't. The 5-1 Clearfield Bison traveled into Bald Eagle area to match up against the undefeated Eagles. After one offensive drive, the skies opened up, and the rain didn't stop for the rest of the night, forcing both teams to change their game plan.
We decided to go behind our line. We trusted them. They could do a great job blocking, and it showed. We had a great second half. We pounded them. We kept blocking. We ran the ball effectively.
For head coach Miles Carrigan, coming into a hostile environment to face a tough team on the road was a challenge in itself. But the even bigger challenge was trying to get his air raid offense to redefine itself after the rain denied any offensive momentum.
Coach Carrigan kind of just came in and told us to believe in ourselves that they're 6-0 and we were down 7-0 at halftime and we still weren't playing that well. All we needed to come in the second half and do was play our football game. We were going to win.
When a quarterback sees that a play may not work, he calls an audible. But how do you audible towards the weather? That's exactly what Clearfield did. Going down into the second half, 7-0, they fought back and were able to change their game plan and come out with a W. And at halftime, all it took was a few words to rally the troops and help spark a second half comeback.
We were definitely frustrated. I mean, it was shown a little bit, but the seniors stood up, they stood together, they kept fighting, they kept pounding the ball, they trusted the game plan, and they executed perfectly. They did a great job. I'm very proud of them.
This week, Bald Eagle heads to Johnstown to take on the Trojans. State College also won on Friday. The Little Lions host Harrisburg this week. Catch highlights on After the Whistle Friday at 11:30 p.m. Penn State men's hockey is on the road again this weekend, starting with a trip to Clarkson on Friday and then St. Lawrence. The Lions are coming off a 3-2 win in their season opener at Long Island University. Junior forward Dylan Lugris came up big with a game winner in the third period, helping the team overcome a 2-1 deficit. Penn State is ranked 18th in the country. The still unbeaten Penn State women's soccer team hits the road this week to take on Purdue. The Nittany Lions clawed their way back on Sunday for a 2-1 win over Ohio State at Jeffrey Field. The Buckeyes opened the scoring in the 36th minute by senior midfielder Peyton McNamara. The Lions were able to tie it up 7 minutes later. Then in the 88th minute, McBean heads it in for her second goal and the game-winning strike. Penn State is now 11-0-2 on the year. That's all we have for sports. Now back to you guys at the anchor desk.
Thanks, Gianna. Women's soccer has been killing it. Coming up next, roller derby in State College, and this time with a spooky twist for Halloween. We'll take you to the event after the break.
State College is a big sports town with Penn State, the Spikes, and lots of high school sports. But did you know there's also a roller derby league? Mac Young takes a look.
Where do killer costumes, big-time hits, and end-to-end action all come together? State College Area Roller Derby. Skater Chainsaw says it's a real workout, but a rewarding one.
It is a lot of workout. 2 minutes does not seem like a long time, but when you're out there, it's the longest time in the world.
It's about embracing the toughness.
When you get bruises, it's so cool. It's like a badge of honor. Like, I play roller derby. It's great.
You might think of roller derby as a really physical and competitive game, and it still is here at the C3 Sports Indoor Complex. However, inside right here, it's all about sportsmanship and community. Just ask Zoflake.
I just love hearing my teammates cheer, whether it's getting lead jammer, laying a big hit, anything anytime I get to hear praise from my teammates is probably my favorite.
For Crystal Brawler and all of the SCAR skaters, community and sportsmanship win the day.
We support each other. We are women. We hit hard. We play hard, but we love hard.
Through all the bunches, hard skating, and takedowns, these women keep on smiling.
Everyone is just so supportive. Like, I'm a relatively new skater, and when I'm out there, I'm like talking to the other team and telling them like, oh, I'm so tired. And they're like, you're doing great.
SCAR is committed to promoting athleticism, sportsmanship, and inclusivity.
You lay someone out, they're up saying nice hit. It's just a great atmosphere.
In State College, I'm Mac Young for the Center County Report.
Looks like a lot of fun, and their next event is December 2nd. That's all for today's newscast. We hope you'll join us Friday for our next local news update.
But you can also follow us anytime for breaking news on our Center County Report X, and you can see our stories on Facebook page, Instagram, YouTube, and website. Have a good afternoon.